Okay, as I told you, we are studying this week the history of South Asia. Okay, the history of South Asia. And we have said that the history of South Asia actually stretches back thousands of years. So the region has experienced much change in many social structure and also in religious and beliefs. We have started with the early civilization. How did we know about the early civilization? How did we know about the early civilization? Who can tell me? Yes, yes, Josie?
The archaeologists in South Asia discovered the remains of one of the oldest known civilizations because of its location near the Indus River. The culture is known for the Indus Valley civilization.
Thank you very much, yes, Judy. Okay, then we said that the Indus Valley civilization was formed the same time as the other river valley civilization around the world. So it means that we had many civilizations around other rivers, such as the Nile River, for example. We have two major centers of the Indus Valley. Who can tell me where are they located and what did they discovered? Okay, Reem.
May you repeat the question again?
Okay, I will repeat it again. We have so many, after the discovery of many remains, we have like a major centers of Indus Valley culture. Where are they located?
I think the people of the culture left written records. Most were farmers and crafts are flourished.
No, I'm asking first about the place, the location, yeah, Reem. Where
Okay,
are
the
they
Indus
located?
Valley civilization. It's called like this because it's near the Indus River.
Yes. The two places were the Harappa and the Mohenjo-daro, which are the modern day Pakistan. Okay, so I'm asking first about the places, which is the Maharaba and the Mohenjo-daro. Then you have tell me about the written records. Can you complete, Yarim? Complete.
Okay, the people of this culture left written records. Most were farmers, but crafts also flourished.
Yes. So mostly they were working in farming, but actually they have also,
Crafts.
yes, huh?
Um,
They have arts and crafts. Okay.
uh,
Who can tell me the main features of this civilization? Thank you, Yarim. The main features of this civilization. Maya? Yes, yeah, Fadia.
Which civilization exactly?
We are talking about the early civilization, the Indus Valley. Who can tell me the main features? Yani what can you find about it? The houses, for example, the bathrooms, and everything. Maya, go ahead.
Written records by the Indus Valley people, mainly strings of symbols, have never been fully deciphered, but archaeologists indicate that the civilization was advanced. City streets were laid out in a grid-like pattern. Most houses were made of brick and had their own wells. Houses even had bathrooms and drains, although most residents were farmers. Craftsmanship flourished. ماشي بس.
Thank you.
that's
So the
okay.
houses were made of bricks. They had their own wells. They had their own bathrooms and drains. Also, the residents were farmers or craftsmen, which have left us with many art and crafts. Then the Indus Valley culture lasted for around 1,000 years. But do we know what brought it to an end? Do we know the reason behind it became to an end? Fadia?
No.
No.
Fadia, go ahead. Fadia?
Because maybe there was a disease,
Yes.
new disease,
Maybe
an
a disease
earthquake or a natural disaster.
or an enemy
Natural.
invasion. An
an
enemy
enemy.
invader. Thank you very much. Yes. So they have يعني speculated maybe it was a natural disaster, an earthquake, or maybe a disease, or maybe an enemy invader. But they don't know for exactly what has given the end to this mysterious civilization. Then it was the beginning of the Aryans. What's meant by the Aryans? Usama? Usama Gizi? What's meant by the Aryans? Usama,
Miss, can I repeat the question?
what's meant by the Aryans? Who are the Aryans?
It's a group of people or another civilization, yani. They swept into what is now India. They came from Russia or Central Asia, and they settled down to become farmers. And the Aryan civilization lasted about 1,000 years.
So at the beginning, they were nomads, then they have settled down and become farmers. The Aryan civilization also lasted for more than 1,000
1,000
years.
years.
What? Thank you, Osama. What did the Aryan civilization left behind? Hannah Hamdi, what did the Aryan civilization left behind?
It left behind two important legacies for South Asians. The first legacy was social. Aryans believed that society could be successful only if people followed strict rules and tasks.
Thank you,
Next,
Hannah. Thank you.
okay.
What about the social class that the society was divided in? The society was divided into many classes. What are they? Ali Hisham,
Yes.
can you tell me about the social classes?
Castes were social classes.
Hmm?
The top class was made up of Brahmins or priests.
Yes.
Next came the warriors. And third were the merchants. The bottom class consisted of laborers and peasants.
Mhm. Okay. Did they have, thank you, Ali. Did they have the freedom to move from one class to another one? And why? Or was it fair or not? Hannah Durgam,
Miss, can you say the question again,
did they
please?
have the freedom to move from,
Repeat the question.
did they have the freedom to move from one class to another class? Did they have this freedom?
Miss, can I answer?
The caste
Huh?
had a deep impact of South Asia for thousands of years
Yes.
because inequality. If they were born into a lower class, people could
Yes.
not move up in a society
Mm.
regardless of their talent.
Yes. Thank you, Hannah. Then we have talked about the second legacy. Who can tell me about the second legacy? The second legacy, Kenzie Tahan.
It records that the scholars have been able and they use a language its name and they was writing the long poetic text and it's called Vedas, and they also was speaking language is called Sinaric, is appearance of language of Hindi, or of the most important language in modern India.
Yes. So they have their own language, which is the Sanskrit language, which actually the parent of the Hindi language. And they have helped to influence the Greek and the Latin, ancient Greek and Latin too. This was the second legacy. They were writing something called the Vedas. What are the Vedas? What are the Vedas? Josie Abaouf?
Sorry.
What are the Vedas?
It's an ancient Sanskrit language. It's the Sanskrit language is
It
a
is
parent of
written in the Sanskrit language. But what are exactly the Vedas?
the Vedas.
What are they?
It's a poetic text, a long
Yes.
poetic text.
Mhm.
In the ancient written in the form of the ancient Sanskrit language.
Yes.
And it's the parent language of Hindi.
Okay. So these are actually religious hymens. These are actually religious hymens, and these hymens are full of philosophical ideas, and also it is led the foundation of the which religion? The foundation of which religion? Ahmad Rashwan. Rashwan,
Here.
can you tell me this is the foundation of which religion?
Can you say again?
This is the foundation of which religion?
Any foundation.
The Vedas are the foundation for which religion? Do you know?
1 second.
So can you repeat the question?
Hinduism.
Hinduism, yes. Yes, Yanur, what were you asking about?
لا I asked if you could يعني repeat the question.
It's the foundation of the which religion? It's the foundation of the Hinduism. Then we move to the religious traditions. We said that we had, like in South Asia, is the birthplace of major religions. We have three different religions. What are they, Anami?
Hinduism,
Yes.
Hinduism,
Huh? Hinduism.
Jainism,
Yes. Hinduism, Jainism, and the last one is
Buddhism.
Buddhism. Thank you. Let's start by the Hinduism. Who can tell me what are the main features of the Hinduism? Nujaina? Nujaina Ayman.
Okay. يعني the definition or يعني what's
Yes, and the
Hinduism?
features. Oh.
Okay. First, Hinduism is the way of life with no founder, no holy book, and no central core of beliefs.
Yes.
Hindus pay respect to the Vedas and take care of religion rituals. Hindus believe in reincarnation. يعني say يعني should I say the meaning
No,
of
thank you.
reincarnation?
So they have, and but tell me exactly where do they take part in their religious rituals? Where they do it? The place of the religious rituals.
The place? No, I don't know بصراحة.
Anyone knows the place where they do practice the religious rituals? Okay, Hannah Dorghem. And for example, like the church, the mosque. What about the Hinduism? Do they have like certain place to practice the religious rituals?
Yeah.
No.
Home, local temple.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, whether at home or in a local temple. Yes. What's meant by reincarnation? What's meant by reincarnation, Osama?
The rebirth of a soul in another body. It's mentioned in Hinduism. When someone dies, the soul goes into another body.
Yes, the soul goes in another body, and it happens like a rebirth after death. Also, we had like two new religion. As Nano mentioned, we have the first one was the Jainism. Who can tell me about the Jainism?
The Judaism or the Asam?
The what?
Yes. Huh?
The Judaism. Okay.
Go ahead, Yajud. I know you like Buddhism more, but I want you to tell me about the Jainism. Go ahead.
Okay. بس هو Judaism ولا Jainism?
Jainism.
Okay.
It's not yours.
Okay.
Why it's Judaism, يعني?
لا أصلا I heard about Judaism. ماشي okay. It's a religion in India where
It is based on which religion or the principle of what?
It's لا بصراحة I don't know.
Okay, who can tell me about
Buddhism
Buddhism?
here. Buddhism is
Adam
my
Guayed.
حاجة.
Listen, ya Judy, and prepare for the Buddhism. Adam Guayed.
This religion was based on the Hindu principle of ahimsa.
Yes, ahimsa or non-injury. Yes. Thank you, Adam. The followers of the Jainism, they have transformed their economic activity from what to what? Rim Buddha?
Okay. They turned it from farming to commerce, so they could not have to kill or injure any living creature.
Yes. They have actually moved from farming to commerce. Why? So they don't have to kill or injure any living creatures because their religion is actually based on the Hindu principle of ahimsa, which is non-injury, to not injure any living creatures. The second one, yes, the second new religion is the Buddhism. Judy, you ready?
Yes.
Mhm.
The Buddhism was founded by a noble prince named Siddhartha Gautama, I think. Um, he gave up his wealth at the age of 29 years old, his wealthy lifestyle, and traveled in a poverty, searching for spiritual truth.
Yes, he had a famous name which we all know.
The Buddha.
Yes, he called himself the Buddha or the Enlightened One. Like, thank you, Judy. What were his beliefs, guys? He believed in several truths. What were they?
Miss, can I say?
Okay, go ahead.
The four the four noble truths.
Yes.
I say them. One, life is full of suffering. The second one is the cause of suffering is selfish desire. Number three, suffering can be stopped by conquering desire. And number four, desire can be conquered by following eightfold path. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right way of living, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration.
Yes, thank you very much. These actually were the four truths. Let's move back to the next part after the Buddhism, which very well-known Buddhists like Jains are actually we have also largely rejected the caste system or the Hinduism. But what was still till today the main religion there? What's the main religion there in India and in South Asia? Okay.
Hinduism برضه.
Yes, Fadia. Still, Hinduism remains the major religion throughout India today, but Buddhism is number two there. Then comes at the end Jainism.
وفي برضه Jainism اسمها ايه؟
Yes, Jainism or the Jainism is the last one, or actually the not the most well spreading.
Yes.
Let's move back to the three Indian empires. We said that the Aryan civilization has faded by the year 500, and around 200 years later, another power arose. Which power has aroused, and who can tell me how did it invade India? Maya?
The Mauryans.
Yes.
Mauryas.
The Mauryas?
They conquered much of South Asia. Their most famous ruler was named Ashoka. A highly successful warrior. He converted to Buddhism around 260 BC and adopted a life of non-violence.
His conversion
and influenced many people throughout the subcontinent. Trade and culture thrived under his rule.
Okay, so again, we said that we have three different Indian empires. The first one after the civilization of the Aryans has faded was the Mauryas, and the Mauryas has actually come and conquered much of South Asia. Their most famous ruler name was Ashoka, and Ashoka is highly successful warrior. So he was a warrior that has conquered most of South Asia, and he converted to which religion? The Buddhism. And then he was adopting the idea of being non-violence. As you can see from the studying of most of the religion, you'll find that most of their ideas not to be violent, not to injure the creatures of the nature, to be self-behaved, and so on. Then also he was very interested in trade, and the trade and the culture has thrived under his rule. Then 100 of years later, another empire came. What's the second empire? Yusuf, I can see that you want to participate.
The Guptas.
Yes. What did he do?
They managed to unify much of northern India under the ruler Chandragupta I. Science, medicine, mathematics, and arts flourished. Gupta scholars developed the decimal system in mathematics that we still use today.
Yes. So thank you, Yusuf. The second one, another empire, which is the Guptas. The Guptas actually he did two things. The first one, he unified much of northern India, and under the ruler of the Chandraguptas, science, medicine, mathematics flourished, and scholars have developed a very important system with a decimal system, which we're still using till today. So the first empire was the Mauryas, and the second one was the Guptas. What about the third one? The finally or the last one, India has actually witnessed. Who can tell me about the third one? Okay, Usama.
During 500 to 600, India witnessed the flowering of a third great empire, the Mughals. In contrast to earlier emperors, Mughal rulers were Muslim rather than Hindu. They were the first Indian emperors to be members of a minority religion. During this era, many South Asians converted to Islam. Some of the Mughals were tolerant. Akbar the Great, who ruled from 1556 to 1605, was a devoted Muslim, but he encouraged freedom of religion.
Okay, thank you, Usama. So now, sorry?
His name is Akbar?
Yes, his name is Akbar. That's why we find this in Indian movies. And he was known, he did something very important. He did something and a very important structure in India. Anyone knows which structure did he build? And
Miss, can you say the question again?
Again, he has built very important. Actually, he had like religious scholars.
Taj Mahal, صح?
Yes, Taj Mahal. He has built Taj Mahal to honor which person of his family? Not the Mughal emperor, the fifth one. His name was Shah Jahan. Yes, he has built a very important structure with the Taj Mahal to honor which person of his family?
His wife.
Yes, yes. Yes, actually, he built this in order to honor his beloved dead wife. So today, she died, yes, and he wanted to honor her, and he built Taj Mahal.
His name is Mumtaz Mahal, صح?
Yes. Actually, if you want to know the whole story, we can search for it and start the session, inshallah, tomorrow. We don't have a session tomorrow. We have a session, yes, we have a session tomorrow. We can start tomorrow with the story. Please, if you can search for it, because I don't know the whole story yet. But you can look for it, and who's ready to present it tomorrow, I'll be more than happy. So who's ready to present about it tomorrow? Search for information and tell me about this place. And about Taj Mahal, and why did he build this? Was she alive? Was she dead? Like a couple of sentences about this. Okay, tomorrow I will ask you at the beginning of the session. So today we were comparing the three different Indian empires. Okay, so again, before the session ends, I want three of you to compare between the three Indian empires. Who can share this? Please, all of you, lower your hands. And if you want to share, raise your hand again. So I have Maya. I have who? I have Maya, Judy, and Reem Buda. Okay, go ahead. Reem, you will start with the first one, Judy the second one, and Maya the last one. Okay? Yalla, Reem, go ahead. Tell me about the name of the first Indian empire.
Okay, the first was the Mauryas.
Yes.
It conquered South Asia. Their famous ruler was named Ashoka, a highly successful warrior, and he converted to Buddhism. and adopted the life of nonviolence. His conversion influenced many people throughout the subcontinent. Trade and culture thrived under his rule.
Thank you, Reem. The second one, Judy, go ahead.
Years later, after another empire, the Guptas managed to unify much of northern India under the ruler Chandra Chandragupta, the first.
Yes.
Science, medicine, mathematics, and the arts flourished. Gupta scholars developed a decimal system in mathematics that will still used today.
Thank you. The last one, Maya.
Finally, during the 15,000s and 16,000s, India witnessed the flowering of a third great empire, the Mughals. In contrast to earlier emperors, Mughal rulers were Muslim rather than Hindu. They were the first Indian emperors to be members of a minority religion. During this era, many South Asians converted to Islam. Some of the Mughals were tolerant. Akbar the Great, who ruled from the 1556 to 1605, was a devoted Muslim, but he encouraged freedom of religion. He regularly held discussions with the religious scholars, as with many Mauryas and the Guptas. Gupta's culture, science, and the arts flourished under the Mughals. The architectural monument, known as the Taj Mahal, was constructed by the fifth Mughal emperor, Jahan, in memory of his beloved wife.
Thank you guys very much. It was an interesting comparison. Inshallah, tomorrow I want you to tell me the story of Taj Mahal and why did he build this in order to honor his wife. Thank you guys for your contribution and being active. But let me just check the attendance for the last time. Because Malak wasn't here. Malak, you're here now, right? Jana?
Yes, you missed.
Is Jana here? Aisel
Yes.
not here. Jana here?
Yes, Jana's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Hana Magdi, Abu Magd.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, she's here.
Noor Mahdi.
Miss his mic. He have a problem with his mic.
Okay. And Hassan Youssef, Mu'min Al-Azali. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Bye.
Bye.